ever look at your tank and think, this needs some tiny plant confetti sprinkled on top? Well, you've come to the right place, because today we're talking about aquarium floating plants, nature's own tiny little bug boats. Hello, my name is Holly and welcome to another Nature Pets and Aquariums video. Today we'll be covering what makes floating plants great, some of the most popular and interesting varieties, and how to keep them happy without completely taking over your tank like an aquatic weed apocalypse. First off, floating plants are super beneficial for your aquarium. Not only do they add a schmick aesthetic, they also provide shade and reduce algae growth by blocking excess light. They act as natural filters, sucking up any nitrates and keeping your water clean. They also give shy fish and fry a place to hide, making them feel safe and secure. Plus, they can even feed your fish. Some floaters are polite, well-mannered guests, and some will turn your tank into an overgrown swamp faster than you can say Duckweed Invasion. So let's talk about some of these varieties. First up, I'm going with the most common, most seen, and most hated in the aquarium world, duckweed. It's the cockroach of the aquarium world. It grows everywhere and anywhere. If you like the idea of spending your weekends manually scooping out tiny green dots from your filter intake, this plant is for you. And apparently the only ones that like duckweed are goldfish, when it's in their stomach. Then there's duckweed's bigger, fancier cousin, Frogbit. It grows larger leaves and longer roots, and is way easier to control. It propagates fast and it's great for shading areas in your tank. Another super fast grower is Azolla. It's a tiny floating fern that grows up to 2 to 5 centimeters across, making it slightly larger than your duckweed, but smaller than your Frogbit. It spreads rapidly, especially in high light, so while it can create a beautiful dense floating carpet, best to keep an eye on it. Water lettuce is the gentle giant of floating plants. It's huge and it can grow up to 25 centimeters across, making it one of the largest floaters in the hobby. It's beautiful but notorious for blocking light. If left unchecked, it'll cover the surface like a leafy green carpet, so make sure your other plants underneath don't end up living in eternal darkness. A lesser known but unique choice is the bamboo floater. It has long trailing roots that look like tiny aquatic forests, making them great for fish that love hanging out under cover. Then there's the fan favorite, the red root floater. This plant adds a stunning bright red carpet on the top of your aquarium. It likes high light and appreciates some CO2. When you have an excess of high levels of nitrate in your water, the leaves of red root floaters will turn green instead of their characteristic red color. So essentially, the more nutrients you have available, the greener the leaves will be. So if you want that classic red color, lower your nitrate levels. So how do you keep these floating freeloaders happy? Most floating plants love bright light, but they can also be quite sensitive if they get too much and burn. If you have low light, then that's no problem. Frogbit and Azolla will still thrive. Floating plants aren't picky when it comes to your water parameters. As long as you're keeping your fish happy, your floaters will be happy too. That said, some, like red root floaters, love softer, slightly acidic water. Unlike rooted plants, floating plants breathe atmospheric CO2. So you don't need to inject CO2, but if you do have it, they'll definitely grow faster and even better. Floating plants take nutrients directly from the water column. A good liquid fertilizer will keep them lush and stop them from turning sad and pale. Now, if you've accidentally unleashed the duckweed apocalypse in your tank, don't worry, there are ways that you can get it under control. The first and obvious method is to scoop it out with a fine net that'll help you manually remove the duckweed. Just be prepared for it to keep coming back even if you've missed the tiniest piece. Investing in a surface skimmer can make duckweed removal way easier by constantly pulling it into the filter chamber. You can introduce other floating plants that compete for nutrients, ones that aren't as invasive like Frogbit or red root floater, that will help starve it out. You can also add in duckweed eating fish. There's goldfish and certain cichlids that love to snack on duckweed. Just keep in mind that these fish aren't always suited for every aquarium. Whether you're adding your floating plants for their benefits, their beauty, or just to see how long it takes before they overrun your tank, these little floaters definitely bring something special to your aquarium. That's all from me today. I'd love to hear some of your duckweed experiences, so hit us up in the comments.